A suspended chord is a musical chord in which the third is omitted, replaced usually with either a perfect fourth or a major second, although the fourth is far more common. The lack of a minor or a major third in the chord creates an open sound, while the dissonance between the fourth and fifth or second and root creates tension. Analysis. The term is borrowed from the contrapuntal technique of suspension, where a note from a previous chord is carried over to the next chord, and then resolved down to the third or tonic, suspending a note from the previous chord. However, in modern usage, the term concerns only the notes played at a given time. In a suspended chord, the added tone does not necessarily resolve, and is not necessarily prepared from the prior chord. As such, in CFG, F would resolve to E, but in rock and popular music, the term is used to indicate only the harmonic structure, with no implications about what comes before or after, though preparation of the fourth occurs about half the time and traditional resolution of the fourth occurs usually. In modern jazz, a third can be added to the chord voicing, as long as it is above the fourth. Each suspended chord has two inversions. Suspended second chords are inversions of suspended fourth chords, and vice versa. For example, Xmas2 is the first inversion of Sus4, which is the second inversion of Xmas2. The Sus2 and Sus4 chords both have an inversion that creates a quartal chord with two stacked perfect fourths. Suspended fourth and second chords can be represented, in integer notation, as 0, 5, 7 and 0, 2, 7 respectively. The second inversion is 0, 5, 10. Sevenths on suspended chords are virtually always minor sevenths, while the 9 sus chord is similar to an 11th chord and may be notated as such. For example, C9 sus may be notated C11. Jazz sus chord equals. A jazz sus chord or dominant 9 sus 4 chord is a 7th chord on the 5th scale degree of the key with a suspended 4th and an added 9th. Functionally, it can be written as V9 sus 4 or V7 sus 9. You can have the third with the sus chord, the third being generally voiced above the fourth, though this is not absolutely necessary. An example of having the third with the sus chord would be to have the root doubled below middle C, using G2 and G3, played with the left hand, and using the right hand middle C, F, A, and B. The dominant 9 sus 4 has a perfect fourth rather than a major third and is called a sus 4 chord rather than an 11th, though it may also be called a slash chord. G9 sus 4 equals GCDFA equals Fahrenheit per gram equals GFAC. It may even be written DM7 per gram, which shows the merging of E7 and V7. Chord factors include 1 unregistered trademark 7-9-11 or 1-4 unregistered trademark 7-9, not 1-4-5. Although the suspended fourth is not always resolved down to a third, the note is still not usually notated as an 11th because of the chord's function as a cadence point. On guitar. X-1 -1, -1 -3 -1, -2 -3 -1, -3x -1, x -3 -1, -3xx. Examples in popular music. Suspended chords are commonly found in folk music and popular music. An example can be found in the piece One Short Day, part of the Wicked musical by Stephen Schwartz, which starts with a descending arpeggio of a suspended chord. In rock, the verse of the Who song Pinball Wizard is a sequence of suspended fourth chords resolving to their major counterparts. Two examples of songs featuring prominent use of suspended chords are the introduction of Crowded House's Don't Dream It's Over, where the first chord is in Xmas2, and the acoustic introduction to Rush's Natural Science utilizes a sequence of 4 suspended chords. Another example is John Lennon's Happy Xmas, where the sequence is of majors progressing to suspended second, then fourth, then back to the original. In pop synthpop, Erasure's A Little Respect employs major to suspended changes in much of the song's harmonization. Another example with major to suspended progression is Johnny Thunders' You Can't Put Your Arms Around a Memory. The last chord of the first bridge of The Police's Every Breath You Take is an unresolved suspended chord. The introduction and chorus of Shocking Blues' Venus each contain an unresolved suspended chord, and the introduction of Chicago's Make Me Smile has 2 different suspended chords without traditional resolution. Michael Jackson's Black or White uses both sus4 and sus2 chords, so does Tom Petty's Free Fall in F sus4 F sus2. Much of Pointer Sisters' song Automatic uses suspended chords. See also, Jordan triad. References